Hi everyone, and welcome to the Hockey Man, bringing you episode 4 of the simulation preview. Today at the Hockey Man, we'll be talking about the famous 05 draft class. I am pleased as we keep the good talks going, and as I'm joined with, first up, Sambo. How's it going?
Good. How's it going, Johnny? Good to be back.
Not too bad. We're doing all good over here. Next up, welcome back, Zach on the mic. How are you today?
I'm good. How about you, buddy?
All good, all good. Excited to get things going here. So at first glance, we notice, or I hope you did, one of the better 1-2 center punches in the league, led by two Olympians in Sidney Crosby on the first line and Anze Kopitar on the second. Those are two very smart, clutch players that can easily break any game wide open. But if you take a step back, I even like the making of this team as a whole. Not only does this team have guys that can score, but this entire team is more or less built for the playoffs. We're talking about things like speed with Cogliano, Letang, and Helm. And we're also seeing lots of toughness and chippiness with guys like Hornquist and Reeves, who, by the way, has repeatedly shown he's not a one-dimensional fighter. Speaking of defensive play, we even have some solid players in Vlasic, Strawman, and Stastny. Even if this is among one of the most balanced teams in the league, I still think there are better and more dynamic clubs out there. However, the one position that really stands out and may push this team over the edge is goaltending. There we find two Vezina Trophy finalists in Ben Bishop and Jonathan Quick, but also two winners in Carey Price and Tuukka Rask. So I guess as we dissect our way through this team, the goaltending is a good spot to start. With that being said, who would you have as your starter?
I know you're not talking about NHL winning when you talk about Carey Price because that not a lot of that's been happening over in Montreal, and I'm pretty happy about that. But you can't go wrong with Price or Rask, but I'll go with the good Canadian boy, Carey Price, as my starter. Guys, he's elite. He can win you games. He can steal you games when he's on his game. And you know what? I think for all the mocking we do, I think he's a Stanley Cup caliber goalie. Like, he can win you a cup and be the Conn Smythe winner of that playoff run. So I'm going with Price.
Oh, absolutely. If I chime in here, I think if Price
Nothing to
gets,
say. That'll disagree with you.
yeah, it's pretty much spot on. I mean, if Price gets scoring support, like Montreal is struggling to score goals, it's been the story for the last decade. If Price gets goal support, I mean, this is an entire different story. We're talking both in Montreal, and now we might get a chance to see it here in this simulation. I mean, he's rated a 90 overall, and that gives you an idea of how good he is right now and how respected he is, and he can still play the game at a very high level. You also talked about Tuukka Rask. For sure, this guy is super athletic, plays behind a beast of a lineup in Boston, but a little bit of a suspect defense. So that the way he's able to handle the game in Boston is very impressive.
That cup gives me pause, though. That cup gives me pause. He's a champion, so that can't be taken lightly. Winning a cup. I know he wasn't the starter, Timmy Thomas, but
Oh yeah. You mean that's way
yeah. He was on a team he was on a cup team. He has a ring.
Yep.
So that can't be discounted either.
You're saying Braden Coburn should play every game the rest of the season?
I mean, the skill disparity is a little bit off there, but
a little bit.
You know what? You can't discount Braden Coburn's intangibles.
Just big body. Go down the list. Big body. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it now.
But even a guy like Ben Bishop, I mean, if this guy didn't get injured, are we talking about top 5 goaltender in the league? Like, I would probably have him, if he wasn't consistently injured and on top of his game, probably ahead of Price. I think he has that game-breaking ability. That's up for discussion, but yeah, I think he's definitely up there.
I mean, if he wasn't hurt and he was still in Ottawa in 2017, do we win the cup? Probably. I mean,
I don't know if Anderson could have been any better, though.
I agreed, but Bishop just has that raw talent that Andy never had, But yeah, I agree with you. Andy was out of his mind that whole run.
Yeah. And the fact that he was doing it with a bad back, that we learned that after the playoffs, like that's I play with a bad back and I can't do half the shit he does. So yeah, it's pretty incredible. So we'll move on to the defense. So we'll move a position up. And the only one big remark I have is Jack Johnson on the bottom left pairing. I heard a lot of criticism online about his play. I haven't seen him play all that much, but the rest looks very steady to me. So I don't have a problem with these guys. But would you have Chris Russell or a guy like Mark Stahl in place of Jack Johnson?
I think Johnson's an upgrade over Stahl, but Russell, he doesn't contribute much offensively, but he's a shot block machine. So I would put him back there because it's not like you're getting any offense out of Johnson these days.
Yeah, it's kind of like the situation where the more or the less you hear about Russell in a game, the better he plays type thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, at the number 6 spot, I'm not too worried about if it's Jack Johnson or if it's Chris Russell. With that top 4 is pretty stacked. So I would assume that top 4 is playing like 70% of the game or even more 80% of the game.
Yep.
So if that 6 guys on the ice for 8 minutes, I'm not too worried about it. I think Johnson can get the job done.
Yeah, that top 4 is nasty.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of good puck movers.
And if you don't really need many more blocks than what Hjalmarsson has to offer anyways.
Dude, how good was he with Chicago when they won those cups, man?
Oh, he's the most underrated part of their core.
Unbelievable.
So let's look ahead to the forward position. I think we pretty much got the defensive down pat. So I want to know how effective the top 4 wingers are going to be, given especially that we don't see any particular star players. I mean, they are playing with star centers, but they are not star centers or wingers themselves.
I like Oshie. I like Oshie a lot, playing with Crosby. Hornquist can still give you what you need. He's getting a little older, but he can still do it. Stastny is good with the Jets. Yeah, no, I think he plays center with Winnipeg. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But he's a good, reliable guy. He can score and defend. I don't love Cogliano. Cogliano's been there, done that. He was good back in the day. He's a little bit washed, if you ask me. But that's a solid top 4 wingers, especially when you're playing with Crosby and Kopitar. All you really need to do is be in front with your stick on the ice, and they'll bounce it off and put it in the net. So I have no qualms except for Cogliano.
Yeah, no, I like the speed that Cogliano brings, and I like the grittiness of Hornquist, and I like the IQ of Stastny, and I like the skill of Oshie. I think it's a well-rounded top winger core.
Yeah, and I kind of resonate with what Sam was saying. I mean, a guy like Paul Stastny, a guy like Oshie, Hornquist, they can play with these star players and they can adapt their game and they can contribute offensively just as well as Crosby or Kopitar themselves, right?
I agree with you. Like, honestly, if it was a guy like, I don't know, Patrick Kane was playing with Crosby, I think it's actually harder for him to adapt to being the number 2 guy on that line than it is for Oshie. Like, Oshie's used to doing that, so he might be more effective than Kane is at that specific role, because Kane's driving his own line, right? So you know what, like having Oshie on Crosby's wing, he's there to score, he's there to hit, and that's it.
Yep. The only worries I have for that offensive core is really Vladimir Sobotka and Justin Abdelkader. I think Ryan has proven himself to be not back in form in Detroit this year, but I mean, somewhere close to it. He's getting minutes there. He's putting up numbers. But really, Abdelkader and Sobotka just kind of fell off the face of the earth and went to Europe. So that's really the 2 guys. I'm not exactly sure what to expect out of them.
Yeah, bottom 6 depth, and it starts at the middle. Like I don't. You can get better players than Abdelkader and Reeves, but I don't hate that they're on this team. I wouldn't say no to Reeves on my team. That's for sure. I kind of love the guy, but
yeah,
you need a better center than Sobotka on the third line.
I'd have send superstar Tommy Pyatt there on the fourth line, just scoring some shorties and bringing the energy. Probably replace Abdelkader with Tommy Pyatt, but other than that, Revo can hit. Can fight. Bobby can pot 15 a year. That's good. Him and Neil can contribute probably 30 goals on your bottom six. Helm still got that speed, open up some space for the boys. But I'd have Tommy Pyatt in there, and then I like that bottom six.
Fair enough. So we'll wrap up the episode with final predictions. So for this one, I want the amount of wins that this team can rack up during a simulation. And 2, I want you guys to kind of compare this team overall success to the overall success of the Ovi draft, the one that we just had before. So you guys want to go first, or you guys want my...
Yeah, I can go first here. So purely because of Crosby and Kopitar and then the goaltending situation, this team's going to go far. It's going to go far. I'll give you 39 wins. And then once they're in the playoffs, they're built for the playoffs. They'll go further than they're seeded. In regards to the comparison with 04, 04 has more depth at forward. I really like the 04 teams, really, really good with Wheeler and Malkin and Ovechkin. But I think this is a more well-rounded team, a team that'll do better in the playoffs. So while they may finish lower in regular season, I think they actually go further than 04 in the playoffs.
Fair enough. Very interesting. Zach?
Yeah, like 37 dubs. But if you were to put 04 versus 05 in a friendly, I think 05 would smoke them purely based on 04's lack of a goalie and defenseman. The 04's definitely got a nice forward core, but you can't win a cup with just that. So like Sam said, 05's really built nice. This could be like a contending, competitive NHL team if you put it together tomorrow night, So I think they've got that matchup in the bag.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm on the same page here. In terms of wins, I'll go a little bit higher. I'll go with 43 wins. I think they're going to be a top dog team. Crosby just doesn't typically lose, so it's a safe bet to go with it. Kopitar on your second line, he's going to be a stud. And you compare it to the 04 draft. Again, it's the same key points, right? You got a top line that can really produce in the 04 draft, but the bottom is a little bit more suspect. I don't really like that defensive mobility, which you do have in the 05 draft, and the goaltending is night and day. So, 43 wins for me, and I think it should be a pretty good recording. So that'll do it for preview of the 2005 draft. Stick around for the upcoming simulation video. As always, lads, thanks for taking part in this project. Had tons of fun today. Have a good one.
Thanks for having us, Johnny.
Thanks for having me.